Things might not be how you want them to be right now. You may not be where you want to be in life right now, or who you want to be. Maybe you're facing confusion, uncertainty, a storm of pressure, and the weight of expectations. But here's what the Stoics would remind you. Life is not meant to be free from hardship. The Stoics never asked for ease. They knew life wasn't easy, and they wouldn't want it any other way. Because adversity builds character. It shapes us, chisels away the illusions, the ego, the weakness, and in that process, it builds mental resilience. It teaches us how to truly live, not in denial of struggle, but in deep understanding of it. Because it is through hardship that we become more adept in all aspects of life, to learn, to love, to endure, and to rise, not in comfort, but in strength. Things may be very difficult right now. You may be dealing with heartbreak, financial strain, loneliness, illness, or deep disappointment. Things may even be tragic. But remember this too shall pass. Nothing is forever, not even the storm. Hardship and tragedy touch us all, no matter how prepared we think we are. And they will continue to. Not because life is unfair, but because hardship is part of life's natural rhythm. Whenever a tough time passes and we survive it, we come out on the other side stronger. Don't fool yourself. Another hard time will come, another challenge will arise. But you'll face it differently. You'll face it as someone who's already endured. The pain of yesterday becomes the armor for tomorrow. These experiences are not just obstacles, they are training. Lessons in emotional stability, in patience, in discipline. Lessons in controlling your mind, strengthening your spirit, and even caring for your body through crisis. The gift of life is a rarity, a miracle, a luxury beyond measure. Every morning when we wake up and open our eyes, those first moments of awareness, that initial breath filling our lungs, this is already a victory. That breath is proof that you're still in the game. Yesterday was not guaranteed, and tomorrow is not owed. Today is all we have, and we must learn to cherish that. This concept may seem simple, but it's revolutionary in how it alters your relationship with life. Reflect on this daily. Let it guide you. Once you start to realize how precious and how delicate the gift of life is, your stress won't disappear, but it will shrink in significance. Nothing can truly stop you, and nothing should bring you down longer than it absolutely needs to, because you know the value of your breath, your heartbeat, your time. We are human, and things will affect us. Pain will touch us. Our emotions will fluctuate. We will grieve. We will feel doubt. We will get tired. Tragedy will strike, and we must give ourselves permission to feel it. We are not robots. We are not invulnerable, but we must also know when to draw the line. We must give our sorrow a room to visit, not a place to live. We feel the emotions, but we do not allow them to consume and control us. The Stoic path is not about becoming emotionally numb, it's about emotional maturity. It is about mastering yourself so that the outside world no longer decides the outcome of your peace, so that your spirit, not circumstance, holds the pen that writes your story. Let us begin this journey. Let us uncover what it truly means to win, not in spite of struggle, but because of it. Chapter 1. You're winning if you endured. You survived something that was meant to break you. That alone is a victory. Whether it was heartbreak, illness, financial ruin, or a loss so deep it shook your sense of identity, you withstood it. It didn't end you. It didn't define you. You kept going. And that perseverance, even if unnoticed by the world, is the essence of Stoic victory. We often forget that simply enduring is a form of success. Society measures us by accolades, likes, promotions, followers, and shiny accomplishments. We're told that if we don't have tangible trophies, we're losing. But the Stoics taught something radically different, something truer, and far more lasting. They understood that real victory happens behind closed doors, in the silence of the mind, in the unseen battles of the soul, in the moments when no one is watching, when no applause is coming, when all you have is your breath, your pain, and your persistence. That is where greatness begins. When we're caught in the middle of pain or failure or fear, we only see the weight. We fixate on what went wrong. We feel the discomfort, the sting of disappointment, the heaviness of doubt. But we rarely notice the strength it takes to carry it, to not collapse under it. That strength is invisible, yet it is everything. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, to endure is to conquer. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." This one insight is revolutionary. It's the Stoics' call to inner power. It's a recognition that our suffering is never only about the event. It's about our interpretation. It's about the meaning we give to what happens. Change that meaning, and everything shifts. To endure pain, to go through something hard, and to still wake up, show up, try again, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's mastery. It's the ability to walk through chaos and not lose yourself, to remain true to your values even when life pushes against them. It's the courage to keep your heart open after betrayal, to keep striving after repeated failure, to maintain self-respect in a world that forgets the importance of dignity. The Stoics weren't concerned with outward success as the world defines it. They were concerned with who you are when things fall apart. That's the true metric. We shouldn't only measure ourselves by what we achieve or how productive we were. We should measure how resilient we've become. How many times we kept breathing through the fire. How deeply we've learned to keep walking when everything inside of us said stop. Because it's not about avoiding pain. It's about being forged by it, shaped through it, transformed by it into someone stronger, wiser, calmer. Resilience is quiet. It's not in the loud announcements or big wins. It's not in the perfect Instagram post or public praise. It's in the person who cried alone in the car and still went to work. It's in the one who got ghosted, heartbroken, dismissed, and still chose kindness. In the one who got rejected and still applied again with humility. In the one who failed and still believed it was worth trying. In the one who faced overwhelming fear, whose knees were shaking but still stepped forward. In the one who had every reason to give up but didn't. The quiet warrior, the invisible champion, the soul that bleeds in silence but rises anyway. You are that person. You are the one who presses forward without the applause, who fights invisible battles while wearing a calm face. You are already winning in ways others cannot see, wins not broadcast, but deeply embedded into the core of who you are becoming. Your victories may not fill a trophy case, but they are real, enduring, and profound. You are winning in ways that are foundational, internal, unshakable, rooted not in how others see you, but in how you choose to live each day despite your challenges. You are practicing strength by simply being present. You are practicing courage by choosing hope over despair. You are practicing wisdom by deciding to grow, even through pain. These are the victories that no one can take from you. They are not subject to market value, not measured by followers or fame. They don't fade under scrutiny. They don't rust when neglected. They last a lifetime because they are woven into the fabric of your character. They are the kind of victories that echo quietly but eternally through every kind action you choose, every mindful breath you take, and every storm you weather without bitterness. And the more you recognize them, the more you strengthen them, the more you honor them, reflect on them, and let them inform the way you walk through the world, the more unbreakable you become, not because the world changed, but because you did. That is true Stoic triumph. That is real success. Every evening, reflect on one moment in your day that was difficult, and instead of thinking how it hurt you, think about how you got through it. This builds internal recognition of your endurance and retrains your mind to see strength where you once only saw struggle. Chapter 2. The Scoreboard Lies. True progress is internal. In a world obsessed with metrics, we think if we don't have the money, status, relationships, or body we want, we're behind. From a young age, we're taught to keep score based on external symbols of success. Report cards, trophies, awards, job titles, follower counts. These things become the ruler we press against our self-worth. We begin to internalize a dangerous lie, that our value is contingent on visible accomplishments. But what if we stepped back and asked a more essential question? Who are we becoming? What if we began to judge our lives not by surface appearances, but by the strength of our convictions, the clarity of our thoughts, and the peace in our hearts? What if true success had nothing to do with others seeing our progress, and everything to do with us being at peace with the person we are when the lights are off and no one is watching? Seneca said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." This truth cuts deep through the illusions of modern life. We've been told to hustle, to grind, to constantly aim higher. But no one tells us that endless craving robs us of presence. No one tells us that always chasing the next thing can leave us blind to what we already have. You are not poor if you're building self-respect. You are not failing if you are choosing peace over chaos, especially when the chaos would have been your comfort zone in the past. You are not lost if you are questioning your path instead of blindly walking it. In fact, questioning means you're awake. It means you're thinking for yourself. That in itself is progress. Self-inquiry is one of the most powerful tools for liberation. To pause and ask yourself, is this truly what I want? That's the beginning of wisdom. If you look at who you were 6 months ago, 1 year ago, have you become more aware of yourself? Are you more thoughtful, more controlled, more open to reflection? Are your reactions slower, your words more intentional, your presence more grounded? Are you able to sit with discomfort without needing to numb it right away? Are you recognizing your triggers before they control you? That's winning. That's the work the world cannot see, but that you carry into every room, every relationship, every decision. Because the world might not see it yet, but when the inside changes, the outside eventually reflects it. All lasting transformation begins invisibly. The mindset that once sabotaged you now pauses. The behavior that once derailed you now gets questioned. That is evolution in motion. That is what growth really looks like. Quiet, slow, profound. Growth is not always linear. You may stumble. You may fall back into old patterns. You may repeat lessons that you thought you had learned. Sometimes you'll feel like you're taking 3 steps forward and 5 steps back, and that can feel disheartening. But that doesn't mean you're back at square one. It means you're human. It means your healing process is real, dynamic, and alive. Growth is like climbing a spiral staircase. You may pass the same emotional landscape, but now you see it from a higher vantage point. What used to paralyze you now only slows you. What used to drown you now makes you pause and float. You're moving, even if it feels like circling. With each turn of that staircase, your perspective sharpens. You carry the lessons of each stumble. You develop emotional muscles, patience, restraint, understanding that were once foreign to you. Even when you repeat the same mistake, you often recover faster. You notice sooner. You forgive yourself more easily. This is not failure. This is a deeper form of success. Conscious, imperfect evolution. Self-awareness is a powerful upgrade. It is not the absence of error, but the presence of clarity. It doesn't eliminate mistakes or missteps. It transforms how we respond to them. Once your mind has expanded through experience, through the crucible of reflection or the ache of pain, it does not return to its original state. You see the world differently, but more importantly, you see yourself differently. You realize you are not your worst day. You are not your most shameful moment. You are the one who noticed. You are the one who stood back and asked, "Why did I react that way?" You are the one willing to do the hard work of changing. You have tasted insight. You have seen your mind from above, detached from ego and impulse, and that changes you. That awareness is the seed of all wisdom. You cannot unsee what you've come to understand. You cannot unknow the truths you've stared in the face during long nights and quiet mornings. You cannot pretend not to know what you now know. Even in your weakest moments, you carry the echoes of your progress. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. Your past has not vanished. It has seasoned you. Even your failures, your stumbles, your regressions, they are now tools in your hands rather than weights on your back. You have learned how to study them, how to stand among your ruins and find structure again. You may visit the same pain again, but you won't arrive as the same person. You'll bring more tools, more wisdom, more inner space. You'll breathe more deeply and see more clearly. You'll recognize the pattern not as punishment, but as practice. You'll respond instead of reacting. You'll pause when once you spiraled. You'll honor your growth rather than denying your struggle. Because every time you return to something painful, it becomes less about suffering and more about integration. That is what growth looks like. That is what self-mastery feels like. And that makes all the difference, because with every return, you bring more wisdom, you bring more grace, you bring more strength, more stability, more trust in yourself. And each time you do, you show yourself that growth is not about perfection. It's about devotion. It's about continuing to show up with humility and courage again and again. It's about staying in the arena even when the crowd is gone, showing up for yourself when no one else sees the work, and refusing to be defined by the past. That is how we win, slowly, steadily, and from within. That is how the Stoics endured. That is how we don't just survive, but grow, evolve, and build lives of real and lasting substance. Each week, journal about one old habit or mindset you've slowly been shedding. Acknowledge it. Track your internal progress. If your thoughts are getting wiser, more compassionate, more focused, you're growing. Chapter 3. Control is the root of calm. Epictetus made a distinction that transformed the Stoic worldview. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That one idea is liberation. It draws a clear boundary between what belongs to us and what never did. It is a compass when life feels overwhelming. It is a boundary between chaos and clarity, between constant anxiety and deep serenity. Once you internalize this truth, you begin to shift your emotional weight. You stop fighting battles that were never yours to win in the first place. You stop gripping so tightly to outcomes and begin trusting your efforts. You are not obligated to control every outcome. You are responsible for your intentions, your thoughts, your actions, your values. That is your sphere of power. That's where your strength lives. The rest, the timing, the recognition, the other people's responses, the ultimate results, is not in your hands. You may influence, but you do not control. And this is not weakness, it is wisdom. When you operate from this understanding, you become lighter. You start living with less tension, less self-punishment. You stop blaming yourself for things outside your reach. You stop tying your self-worth to things that were never within your domain to begin with. Most of our stress comes from resisting this truth. We try to control perception, how others see us. We carefully curate our image, walk on eggshells, and lose sleep over how we're being perceived. We try to control success, forcing outcomes on our timeline, tying our self-worth to how quickly we arrive. We try to control the future, planning every step with clenched fists, believing we can predict, prevent, and outmaneuver every difficulty. But control is a seductive illusion. The more we cling to it, the heavier life becomes. We carry a mental and emotional load that drains us, not because we're incapable, but because we're misplacing our efforts. We pour our energy into the uncontrollable, leaving little left for the part of life that is actually ours to shape. Reality humbles us, and it's supposed to. Life, by design, reminds us that we are participants, not directors, that we can influence outcomes, but not guarantee them. The more you try to force the river, the more exhausted you become. The more you resist what you cannot change, the more inner conflict you create. You begin to live in a state of tension, tightening around every uncertainty. But here's the shift. When you finally start focusing solely on what's within your control, stress doesn't just lessen, it transforms. You stop feeling victimized by the unknown. You begin to accept the unknown with steady hands. The noise in your mind quiets. You make better choices. You act with clarity. You speak with presence. You live with grace. You let go of your obsession with outcomes and learn to love the integrity of effort. This is not passivity. This is the highest form of wisdom. It is an intentional choice to spend your energy where it matters. This is strategic energy use. This is not surrender. It's refinement. It's not indifference. It's accuracy. This is focused discipline, the sharpness of a mind that no longer leaks energy into every uncertainty. You don't waste time arguing with life. Instead, you align yourself with it, like a ship catching wind, not fighting it. You begin to ask better questions. What would courage look like right now? Or, how do I respond in a way that honors my values? Instead of, how do I fix this outcome? You start thinking in terms of character, not control. You stop chasing applause and start seeking alignment. You focus on the quality of your response, not the speed of the result. And that subtle shift makes all the difference. That is the Stoic transformation. It's not just about peace, it's about precision. It's about learning how to steer yourself while the world churns around you. It's not rigid, it's resilient. You stop trying to command the wind, and instead you master your sail. You guide yourself forward with calm and clarity, and in doing so, you discover that you can navigate any storm, not by dominating it, but by understanding it. Start each day with a quick list. What can I control today? What can I not? Keep it in your notes app. Throughout the day, when stress arises, refer to it. This trains detachment and clarity. Chapter 4. Emotional mastery is the quiet superpower. You're not weak because you feel. The Stoics never denied emotion. They understood it, welcomed it, but never allowed it to rule. They knew emotion was part of being human, part of our nature, part of the soul's honest response to life. But they also knew that to be led entirely by those emotions would make us slaves to fortune. Emotions are natural. What matters is how we engage with them. What matters is whether we are guided by reason or overwhelmed by reactivity. Mastery, for the Stoic, is never about being unfeeling. It is about using feeling wisely instead of letting it use you. There's power in feeling pain and still choosing clarity. There's courage in having fear but acting anyway. There's wisdom in not reacting immediately to a provocation. This isn't suppression, it's precision. It's the difference between being consumed by the fire and learning how to sit beside it. The Stoic doesn't pretend the fire isn't there. They simply learn not to throw themselves into it. Emotions are like waves. They rise, they fall. The question is whether you surf them or drown beneath them. To have mastery over your emotions is to feel them fully, but to pause, to inquire, and to choose your next move with intention. To ask yourself, is this reaction aligned with who I want to be? Emotional mastery is choosing to remain grounded when every part of you wants to explode. It's refusing to let momentary feelings make permanent decisions. Strength is not about having no emotion, it's about not becoming the emotion. It's about not identifying with the storm. That's how you remain unmoved in chaos. That's how you maintain peace when others spiral. Your calm becomes your compass. Your steadiness becomes a shield, not only for yourself, but for those around you. You become the person people look to in crisis, not because you don't feel, but because you've learned how to feel without falling apart. Because you've trained yourself to hold the line between stimulus and response, and in doing so, you become a force of stability in an unstable world. This level of control doesn't arrive by accident. It is forged through daily practice, through moments of reflection, through the discipline of self-honesty, through letting your emotions pass through you without needing to act on them right away. It's built each time you catch yourself before you lash out, each time you breathe through the pain instead of numbing it, each time you choose understanding over outrage, each time you resist the urge to defend your ego and instead respond from your higher self. Emotional mastery requires repetition, humility, and patience. It means practicing restraint not once, but over and over again until it becomes second nature. It means embracing discomfort without rushing to escape it, choosing to learn from your feelings rather than silence them. This work is invisible but profound. It shows up in the pauses you take before speaking, the depth of listening you bring to conversations, and the grace you extend to yourself in moments of emotional turbulence. It is built when you take responsibility for your inner world instead of projecting it outward. Emotional mastery is not about control through suppression. It's about harmony through understanding. It's the willingness to hold space for sadness, to acknowledge anger, to sit with fear without becoming it. It's about knowing that emotions are messengers, not enemies, that even the most uncomfortable feeling is there to teach you something, if you're willing to listen. It's understanding that wisdom often lies just beneath the surface of emotional chaos. Every emotional storm is a test, not a test to be perfect, but to be conscious, to be aware of what's rising in you and to honor it with presence, not panic, to remain grounded when your instincts want to run, to feel the thunder without letting it deafen you. You become a guardian of your peace, not through denial, but through discernment. You learn to observe, pause, and then choose your next step with integrity. To act from wisdom, not from wound. To speak from healing, not from hurt. That is emotional mastery. That is real power. That is the quiet force the Stoics cultivated, and you can too. And when you commit to this path, you don't just become less reactive, you become more free. Because the person who governs their own emotions cannot be controlled by the world. When emotion rises, give it a name. Say it. This is anger. This is fear. Naming it creates distance between you and it. Then ask, what would my higher self do now? This puts logic before reaction. Chapter 5. Gratitude is not delusion, it's power. Practice morning gratitude anchoring. Before looking at your phone, say aloud 3 things you're thankful for that are already yours, even if it's just breath, sight, and the roof over your head. This sets the tone for the day. The Stoics practiced negative visualization, not to become pessimistic, but to never take anything for granted. Seneca advised imagining life without the things you love, to remember their value. He believed that the deliberate reflection on loss didn't diminish life, it made it brighter. By picturing the absence of what we cherish, we sharpen our awareness of its presence. This is not about scaring ourselves, but about waking up to the beauty already in front of us. It's about realizing how much of what we need is already within reach, and how much of what we overlook is actually sacred. Every breath, every conversation, every sip of water, we miss these blessings when we chase what's missing. We get so used to the familiar that we forget it is a gift. The smell of morning coffee, the sound of someone's laughter, the feeling of warm sunlight through a window, these are the treasures of life that we so often overlook. But when we reverse the lens, when we turn our focus from what we lack to what we have, we remember we're already rich, already whole. The Stoic sees this wealth not in gold or praise, but in presence, in simplicity, in the internal abundance that no thief can steal and no market can crash. Gratitude doesn't require that everything be perfect, only that we see things clearly. And when we do, we discover that the ordinary is actually extraordinary. Life can always be worse. It can also always be better. But contentment doesn't wait for perfection. It lives in the present, in awareness, in perspective. Gratitude is not delusion. It's truth. It's clarity. It's the ability to look around at your current reality and say, this is enough, to say this or something better. That doesn't mean you don't strive. It doesn't mean you settle. But it does mean you learn how to appreciate the ground you're standing on while you're reaching for something